Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 16, the later child Kaishora Leela of Mahaprabhu and also his youth pastimes. So we read about Lakshmi Priya's disappearance when Mahaprabhu went to East Bengal. He, being the Lord in the heart, he was aware of Sachi Devi's suffering after Lakshmi Priya's disappearance. So to pacify his mother, he came back and he pacified her. He gave her the Tattva Jnana, right? The Tattva of reality, the Tattva Katha. He gave him Tattva Katha, that gave her Tattva Katha means what is the nature of this life, of this body. Everyone has to leave, but if you're Krishna conscious, then you're going back to Godhead, so there's nothing to lament for that person, like that. And after that, we also saw the wedding of Nimai with Vishnu Priya, isn't it? On Sachi Mata's request, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu married his second wife. 30. Okay. Yes. So about the wedding with Vishnu Priya, the details are not given because it's elaborately described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And also we heard about how Mahaprabhu defeated Keshav Kashmiri. I think that was the last class we discussed about the Lord defeating the Digvijayi Pandit. And then also Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that I will elaborate on those points which were not elaborated by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So the philosophical points. Where did Mahaprabhu catch, find fault with Digvijay Pandit's composition? So that part is elaborated by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we'll read that. So text 28. Once on a full moon night, the Lord was sitting on the bank of the Ganges with his many disciples and discussing literary topics. Coincidentally, Keshava Kashmiri Pandit came there. While offering his prayers to Mother Ganges, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. the Lord received him with adoration, but because Keshav Kashmiri was very proud, he talked to the Lord very inconsiderately. Okay, I think I just told you the whole pastime last time, or did we actually read this whole part? Do you remember reading this? Because my bookmark says 30. Anyone remembers reading this? The Lord received him with adoration. Let me see if there's any purport to this. Okay. We can just read it again. It's okay. You don't remember. Yeah, so we'll start with text 30. I think I just told you the pastime from Chaitanya Bhagavat, how he gets defeated, but still his honor is protected. And then, he goes home and Saraswati Devi appears to him. And then, how he goes the next day and takes shelter of Mahaprabhu like that. I just told you the pastime, I think. We'll read 1630. Basaila tare Prabhu adara koriya, Digvijayi kohe mone avagya koriya. So, Achintadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Translation. The Lord received him with adoration, but because Keshav Kashmiri was very proud, he talked to the Lord very inconsiderably. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So the Lord received him with adoration. Yes. So on a full moon night, Mahaprabhu was already there and Keshav Kashmiri came there, happened to come there. And then he saw and he was actually quite attracted by the beauty and the charm of Mahaprabhu. And when he went to the place where Mahaprabhu was teaching, instructing his students, Mahaprabhu was actually very cordial. So he received this Keshav Kashmiri with adoration, with great respect. But Keshav Kashmiri was very proud because he was the Digvijay Pandit. So he talked to the Lord very inconsiderately, it is said. Right? He was proud. Vyakarana pada ho nimai pandita tomara nama, Balya shastre loke tomara kohe guna grama. Aditi Lata Mataji or Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I understand that you are a teacher of grammar, he said, and that your name is Nimai Pandit. People speak very highly of your teaching of beginner's grammar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is also insult, isn't it? Was it required to say that, oh, you teach beginner's grammar, right? So I understand. So Mahaprabhu was very respectful. He welcomed. And how did Keshav Kashmiri respond? I understand you're a teacher of grammar, right? You're not a very great scholar. You just teach grammar. And that your name is Nimai Pandit. I heard you are Nimai Pandit. People speak very highly of your teaching of beginner's grammar. Purport. Mataji is going to read.
No, Mataji, my mom can't read now.
Okay. Is Narsimha Prabhu here? No. So, Isha? Purport.
Formerly, Sanskrit schools first taught grammar very thoroughly, and this system continues even now. A student was supposed to study grammar carefully for 12 years in the beginning of his life. But if one is expert in the grammar, because if one is expert in the grammar of the Sanskrit language, all of the Shastras are open to him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was famous for teaching grammar to students, and therefore Keshav Kashmiri first referred to his position as a teacher of grammar. Keshav Kashmiri was very proud of his literary career. He was far above the first lessons of grammar, and so he taught the position of Nimai Pandit, not at all comparable to his own.
It's actually very obvious when anyone immediately, recognizes you or identifies you with your position and showing that you are at a lower position. It just shows their pride that I'm in a better position than you, right? Oh, you are a primary school teacher. I'm a professor, like that. So this is what Keshav Kashmiri, Mahaprabhu was very nice and respectful, and Keshav Kashmiri is saying, so what is Srila Prabhupada saying? Formally, Sanskrit schools first taught grammar. That's the beginning of education in Sanskrit schools. You have to study grammar, and you study grammar for 12 years. If one becomes expert in grammar, then all Shastras are open to him, because all our Shastras, Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, first of all, Shastra is the Pramana, yes? Whatever you need to know about anything within this world or outside of this world, everything is found in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, in the Puranas. It's found, Itihasas. But how will you access it? For that, you need to learn Sanskrit, right? And Sanskrit, you have to study the grammar. It takes at least 12 years to study the Sanskrit grammar. And then all knowledge is open to you. All the Shastras are open to you. Mahaprabhu was famous for teaching grammar to students. So Keshav Kashmiri is referring to his position as a teacher of grammar. And what type of teacher? Teacher of beginners grammar. Because Keshav Kashmiri is very proud of his advanced position, like that. Next. इसीलिए the more you, the higher you go, the harder you fall, it is said. Generally, Trinavarta's example is given. The Lord let him go higher and higher and higher and higher, and he was just thinking he's on top of the world. But the higher he went, when he falls down, the harder he'll fall and the more he will get hurt, right? So the more a person becomes proud, the more painful it is going to be when that pride is smashed. So here we see Keshav Kashmiri, he is very proud of his position. He's even looking down upon the Supreme Lord. He didn't recognize him as the Supreme Lord, but he was so proud that he couldn't even recognize the Supreme Lord in front of him, and he is, looking down upon him. So then when he will be, his pride is crushed, he will experience that much pain also. Okay, so next. So he said, व्याकरण मध्य जानी पढ़ा हो कलापा सुनीलोम फाकीते तुम्हारा शिष्यरा समलापा. Krishna Shishya.
I understand that you teach Kalapa Vyakarana. I have heard that your students are very expert in the word jugglery of this grammar.
So you teach Kalapa Vyakarana. So that's one section of grammar, Kalapa Vyakarana. I have heard that your students are very expert in the word jugglery of this grammar. So I don't know about this grammar. Let's see what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Purport, Madhava.
There are many. Can you hear me?
Schools.
There are many schools of grammar in the Sanskrit language. The most famous of which are the systems of
Parnini,
and Kalapa and
Kaumudi.
Kaumudi grammars. There were different branches of grammatical knowledge, and the student of grammar was supposed to study them all in 12 years. Caritamrita, who was famous as Nimai Pandit, taught grammar to his students, became expert in dealing with the word jugglery of complicated grammar. Almost anyone in studying grammar interests the Shastras in many ways by changing the root meanings of their words. A student of grammar can sometimes completely change the meaning of a sentence by juggling grammatical rules. Keshav Kashmir indirectly taunted Lord Caritamrita by implying that although he was a good teacher of grammar, such grammatical jugglery of root meanings did not require great expertise. This was a challenge to see Caritamrita. Lord was prearranged that Keshav Kashmir would have to discuss the Shastras with Nimai Pandit. From the very beginning, he wanted to bluff the Lord. As the Lord replied as follows.
So if you remember when I told you that what did the scholars and pandits of Navadvip think when they heard that Keshav Kashmiri was coming, they felt that, my God, he's personally blessed by Goddess Saraswati. She speaks through his mouth. Who can defeat such a person? And we are so revered all over the world for our uh, knowledge. People come from all over the world to study in Navadvip, and now all our name will be completely spoiled, right? When we get defeated by this Digvijay Pandit, how to save our honor? So then they thought, yes, we will send Nimai Pandit. So it was pre-arranged. When Digvijay Pandit came, he was already in Navadvip. It was arranged that he would be debating with Nimai Pandit. That was already arranged. So Digvijay Pandit, this Keshav Kashmiri, knew that he was to debate with Nimai Pandit. So now he's seeing Nimai Pandit. We see in battle also, right? In Mahabharata, we see before fighting, the warriors, they insult each other and they make each other angry. It's like warming each other up so that there'll be a tough fight, and they will, Kshatriyas, they relish fighting. So they make each other very angry and then they go and they fight. So something like that, right? Debating with each other. So this Keshav Kashmiri is immediately putting down his opponent, uh, that, oh, you are just a teacher of beginner's grammar, right? And it's not a great thing, you know, juggling words around and making new, this is not a very big, achievement. Anyone can do that, like that. So kind of putting down the opponent, even, it takes away the other person's spirit, right? It makes him kind of depressed, and then you get an advantage over the other person. That's also there. So anyway, from what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that, here, the last part, a student of grammar can sometimes completely change the meaning of a sentence by juggling grammatical rules. So we all know that, right? In Sanskrit, one word can have so many meanings, and you can pick whichever meaning you like, and you'll just come up with a completely opposite meaning of the sentence said there than what it was originally intended by the speaker. So that's possible in Sanskrit. That's how we have so many philosophies, right? Shankaracharya, from the same Vedanta Sutra, he came up with a completely different philosophy by juggling the word meanings around and making different sentences with the same sutras that are given in the Vedanta. So a student of grammar can sometimes completely change the meaning of a sentence by juggling grammatical rules. So Keshav Kashmiri is taunting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by implying that he was a teacher and a very well-known, renowned teacher of grammar, but such grammatical jugglery of root meanings did not require great expertise. Everyone says you're a great teacher, but what is your greatness? Just juggling around with the words using grammatical rules, that's not a great expertise. So like this is actually, again, like I said, in a battle, they, what, you are this and you're that, you're not capable, you run away from here, like that. I'm so great. They just aggravate the other person, like that. He's saying he was taunting Mahaprabhu. This was a challenge to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why he was doing this? Because it was pre-arranged that Keshav Kashmiri was going to debate Nimai Pandit. So he wanted to bluff the Lord from the very beginning. Thus the Lord replied as follows. So after hearing this, now see what is Mahaprabhu's, response. Mataji, Nilambari Mataji. Nilambari Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji. Sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. My pranams, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Mataji, you said that it was pre-arranged, but how was it done? Who did it?
The Pandits of Navadvip, Mataji. So
Okay.
this Keshav Kashmiri would go to, the other day I was discussing, he would go to, he already conquered all the different kingdoms or regions in India, and then finally he came to Navadvip. So his system was he would go to a particular province or a kingdom and then he would challenge. So you send your best pandits to debate with me. And if they are defeated by me, then they have to sign this Jayapatra. He carried this Vijayapatra that he has actually, so they have to sign saying that yes, we have been defeated by Keshav Kashmiri, we admit. That means that whole kingdom is defeated by, that means they don't have anyone who's fit to stand in front of Keshav Kashmiri. Everyone is defeated, the whole kingdom is defeated. So that's why they are supposed to send their best pandits. So the pandits of Navadvip, they were already very well-known pandits and very learned pandits in the vision of the rest of the world, and they were nervous. He is coming, how we will face him? So then they came up with a plan. Let us send Nimai Pandit. First of all, Nimai Pandit is just a grammar teacher. By age also we see he's not even 16 years old. He's between 11 and 15 years old now. This is his Kaishwar
Yeah.
Leela.
Yeah.
And so they
13.
said, we will send him because he is the best Pandit here, and they have seen him debating and defeating anyone he argued with. He was such a genius. And then let's say by providence, because this Digvijay Pandit is actually blessed by Goddess Saraswati, maybe even Nimai Pandit will be defeated. In that case, at least we can save our face saying that, what do you expect? He was just a child. There are so many more learned Pandits in Navadvip. So we will not really, our honor will not be smashed as badly if Nimai Pandit is defeated. But if we went, then Navadvip is finished. So who decides this? The leading Brahmana community, the leaders of
Okay.
Navadvip. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Mataji.
sure, Mataji. Okay, so let us continue. So next is Krishna Ashish Madhava read, na? Rasapriya. Prabhu kohe vyakarana podai abhimana kori shishye te na bujhe ami bujhai te nari.
The Lord said, "Yes, I am known as a teacher of grammar, but factually I cannot impress my students with grammatical knowledge, nor can they understand me very well."
Yeah, one line per page.
Since Keshav Kashmiri was a little puffed up, the Lord increased his artificial pride by presenting himself as a burden to him. Thus, he flattered him as father.
So this is the best way, actually. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati also says, when you approach a very proud person, what is the best way to preach to a proud person? First, you become very, very humble in front of that person. You fall at the feet with straw, not grass, with straw between your teeth. So keeping straw between teeth is a symbol of showing one's humility, one's very low position in front of another. So putting straw between his teeth, he will fall at the feet of this proud person, and then he will flatter him that, oh my dear sir, you are so great, you're so generous, you're so learned, and you're so wealthy, and like this, all these wonderful things. And then this person, like, you're really boosting up his false ego, that yes, 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 I'm so great. And then after saying all those wonderful things about him, and then you say, I have a very humble request to make of you. May I ask you something? And with straw between the teeth, you're literally begging that person. I'm very lowly, humbling oneself. I want to ask something from you. And then that person who's already now all puffed up and very pleased by hearing his glorification, he'll say, yes, yes, go ahead, ask, what would you like? And then now this preacher will say, my dear sir, whatever things you have learned so far, please forget all that and take the names of Lord Hari. Please chant Hare Krishna. Then that person, because he has already, you got his attention, right? So now he has to accept it. He will accept it. That's the method. So Mahaprabhu, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He sets the example for us. So this person, Keshav Kashmiri, was so proud, and he's saying, oh, you're a grammar teacher? That's not a great thing, right? To juggle with words. using grammatical rules. That's not so great. When he challenged, did Mahaprabhu become angry and did he defend himself? What do you think you're saying? Who do you think I am? What do you know? Let's sit and argue now, right now, and I'll show you who I am. Did he come like that? No. What is Mahaprabhu saying? He actually went along with what Keshav Kashmiri said. Yes, 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 you're right. So Mahaprabhu is saying, yes, I am known as a teacher of grammar, right? People call me a teacher of grammar, but factually I cannot impress my students with grammatical knowledge, nor can they understand me very well. Yeah, I'm not so great. People talk like that. Actually, I'm not even able to teach them grammar properly, right? I don't have the capability to give proper knowledge to my students. I'm not able to impress my students with grammatical knowledge. And also my students, they are also not able to understand what I'm saying. That means I'm not so great and my students are also not so great. Nothing so great about me. So Keshav Kashmiri said, what's so great about you? And Mahaprabhu is saying, yes, yes, I'm not great. I'm just like that. Very humble, taking a humble position. Since Keshav Kashmiri was puffed up, the Lord increased his artificial pride. Pay attention. So the Lord is saying, all right, nicely. He's also fueling, right? Put more ghee in the fire, it'll go higher. Yes, yes, yes. The Lord increased his artificial pride by presenting himself as subordinate to him. Thus he flattered him as follows. Let's see how Mahaprabhu is going to flatter Keshav Kashmiri. Kaha tumi sarva shastre kavitve pravina, kaha ami sabe shishu paduya navina. Yes. So who's after Rasapriya? Kalpesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Translation. My dear sir, whereas you are a very learned scholar in all sorts of scriptures and very much experienced in composing poetry, I'm only a boy, a new student, and nothing more. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So exactly as Keshav Kashmiri said, you are just a beginner, a teacher of beginners grammar. And Mahaprabhu is also saying, oh, you are such a great learned scholar in all sorts of scriptures, so experienced in composing poetry, and I'm just a boy. I'm a new student. I'm not even a teacher. What sort of a teacher I am? I'm not able to teach, right? My students don't understand what I'm saying. I myself am still a student. I'm just a small boy. And you are such an experienced, such a learned scholar, like that. Next. So next, Nilambari Mataji. Tomara kavitva kichu shunite hoye mana, kripa kori koro jadi gangara varnana.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, I desire to hear. Could you hear? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. Therefore, I desire to hear your skill in composing poetry. We could hear this if you would mercifully describe the glory of Mother Ganges.
Yes. So pay attention here. This is not the debate. The debate would be arranged formally in the presence of, you would have public sitting there, all the learned scholars, everybody would be, it would be like a competition with the whole, village or the concerned authorities sitting around, and there would be a formal debate. This was not that. This was just Mahaprabhu one evening sitting with his students on the bank of the Ganges, and Keshav Kashmiri happened to come there by chance. This was not a formal debate in any way. So what happened? They just met each other. Oh, you are Nimai Pandit, right? Like that. And then Mahaprabhu saying, yes, yes, you're so great. And then he said, you are so learned. I have a desire to hear you compose something, to hear your poetry. You are such an exalted, such a learned scholar. I wish to hear some of your work. Can you compose a poem on River Ganges? Because we are sitting on the banks of River Ganges. Can you say something in the glorification of Mother Ganga? Like that, Mahaprabhu requested. Keshav Kashmiri Therefore, I desire to hear your skill in composing poetry. We could hear this if you would mercifully describe. Very, very humble. We will be fortunate if you can mercifully, kindly tell something about the glory of Mother Ganges. Shunya Brahmana Garve Varnite Lagila Ghati Eke Shata Shloka Gangara Varnila. Narsimha Praladeshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
When the Brahmana, Keshav Kashmiri, heard this, he became still more puffed up. And within 1 hour, he composed 100 verses describing Mother Ganges.
So this was not 3 hours as we thought the other day, only 1 hour. He composed 100 verses. This is not something which he had memorized. It's written in some shastra and he's repeating. Like sometimes, small children when they come, then sometimes the parents or the teacher say, can you recite some shloka from Bhagavad Gita from memory? They will recite. Not like that. On the spot, he's composing. He's just composing a poetry on the spot. And what type of poetry? Not just one like one stanza. No. 100 shlokas. 100 shlokas on the spot he composed, and he recited them in 1 hour, and they were not like small lines, like really complicated. We hear in, maybe it will come here also, but it is explained in Caitanya Bhagavatam that they couldn't even understand what he was saying. They were all students of grammar, mind you. They couldn't understand anything what he was saying. And the literary ornaments that he used in composing, they were completely awestruck. Their jaws dropped, their mouths opened like this when they heard him recite these verses glorifying Mother Ganga. 100 verses at a stretch, and he was with such eloquence and such speed, like wind. The shlokas were coming out of his mouth like wind. The students were shocked to hear. They had never seen such scholarship before. So like that, here it is said that Keshav Kashmiri, he was already proud, and when Nimai Pandit requested him to please, show a sample of his scholarship, right, of his ability to compose poetry, he became even more proud, very puffed up. Oh, you want to see here? Within 1 hour, he composed 100 verses describing Mother Ganges. So, yeah, so everyone has read? I think so. It's already time. So we can stop here. We will continue tomorrow. Thank you all so much. Sri Caitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.